Dale Not Dale Podcast.
What up, Bonnie?
Yo,
Man.
yeah, hell yeah, brother.
Dude, Magnus likes that.
Dude, he does every time.
He texts you like,
He gets all
weird.
he's all amped. He's all amped up about it.
Dude, anything new about me?
Dude, you have a mustache.
I'm a mustache guy.
You are a mustache guy.
I think it looks good.
Honestly, it doesn't look bad. No,
It doesn't?
No, it really does. It actually fits your face.
It does, yeah, that's why I've done them before, like just kind of like whatever, and I didn't really like it. And then this last time, I did it, and I was like, man, I don't know, something about this time I liked it.
I think you need to shave the rest of your face though.
Oh, I buzz it all. I mean, this is a couple of days. I need to go buzz it again.
I'm saying razor it.
Razor shave,
Dude, do it. Don't, yeah, you got to razor it. Don't just, use a razor.
I'll do it tonight.
Okay. I mean, make sure that stash is
just
pronounced.
Okay.
When you walk into a room,
You can see it in the video.
everybody's going to be like, that's a stash. Oh, hey, Dale.
I'm stash guy now.
Yeah, stashed up.
Crystal's digging it, man.
She's growing a stash too?
I had to finally compete with hers.
Oh, golly. It's tough on these streets.
Yay line, bro. Yay line, bro.
Ironically, since you went on the stash rampage, I'm actually going to get my face lasered.
How? Like, why? Like
don't know,
hair
man.
removal?
Yeah. I'm not a facial hair guy.
No.
And
I've
you
never
know-
seen facial hair. You said your lip turns black, right?
Dude,
When it gets-
it's like so dark brown, it's like black. And then like I always bragged about like I barely even grow facial hair. I mean, literally in the last year. Like I used to shave legitimately once every 4 days.
Okay.
Maybe 5.
Okay.
Now, dude, it's every other day.
Really?
I can't have this.
Can we wait a weekend and like grow your mustache out for me just to see what it looks like? I want to see how dark the hair gets.
But I've got to be in front of customers and stuff.
No, I said for the weekend.
Well, it won't be that bad.
Oh, fuck.
I mean, I would think like if I had it going like a good 7 days, you would see that it's black.
Yeah, okay. Well, I get it. You don't have it for work. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I just like to see what it looks like because I've never seen facial
Dude,
hair.
it would look horrible.
In the few years that we've been friends, I've never seen it.
I'm not a facial hair guy. I can never pull it off.
Yeah. See, I never like shaving my face, but like just the other night, my beard was like bothering me. Like I feel like I was just dirty, so I was like, I got off with it. And I was like, all right, I dig the stash, man. There's more guys out there with stashes now. I've been seeing it. I was like, maybe I'm a stash guy.
Come back to the Caterpillar.
I might be the guy that's gonna have stash for the rest of my life.
Dude, you just stash it up.
I've had a lot of new things this week.
You did.
So we're gonna have a YouTube come out soon. You know, I've been teasing for a year
Yeah.
about getting the podcast tattoo, which one right behind us, and I finally did it.
Yeah, you did.
Finally did it, dude. And Vaughn was there. Magnus was there. And Magnus filmed. Me and Vaughn were there. Vaughn got to spend some time in a tattoo parlor where you would probably never expect to see Vaughn.
No.
And it was a good time.
It was. Yeah, it was interesting.
Even Casey Baldwin, he goes by Casey Tattooer on Instagram. But he texted me after he had a good time. He's excited to see it because he was a cool dude.
It's gonna be good. Yeah. No, it was a good time.
And he did a bang up job.
It's so fast. It's only an hour and 45 minutes.
I'll tell you what, that's one of the quickest tattoos I've gotten. And there's a lot, like,
There's a lot of details in that.
very good
You
job.
made that shirt look good that I was wearing.
I'm hoping that we will have this YouTube out within the next week or so.
Well, we're going to have it out before this episode airs, right? No.
No, this one's this episode is a fun one, and this is a big one because we're trying to promote some friends of ours.
Yeah.
So, Sean Dolan, Dale Not Dale podcast alum, comedian, great storyteller. We've been to one of his shows live, which is awesome. He's got a friend, Matt Knudsen, who is a actor, writer, comedian. He's coming to do a show in Houston at the Riot Comedy Club.
Yeah.
And Sean's going to open for him. But Mr. Matt Knudsen's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And so we're excited to have him on to help promote their show. And just to, like we haven't had an actor on the show yet. So it's a profession we both enjoy.
Yeah.
And it's our first taste of getting one of them on, which is it's exciting.
I'm kind of wanting to see his show a little bit,
Yeah.
Maybe a lot of bit.
I think we gotta go.
I would love for him to like come on stage and be like, "We're back!"
Oh, dude, son of a bitch! I was not expecting that.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm a sneak attack.
Dude, you're a sneaky we're backer.
I'm a sneaky we're backer.
I'm making a shirt.
I'm a sneak swindler.
You are a sneak swindler.
There you
go. You know who's not a swindler? Good Ranchers.
Good Ranchers.
They don't swindle anything. These guys just give great American products: meat, beef, pork, chicken, salmon, shrimp, and then what? Like it's a story. No, these guys are awesome, man. Like I said, make sure you go check out goodranchers.com. Use our code DNDPod. Take advantage of the discount. They still have the free 2 pounds of ground beef per box.
Per box.
So make sure to take advantage of that. And so goodranchers.com, DNDPod. Use our code. These guys are awesome. I need to get with them soon. We haven't talked to them. I've talked to them a little bit. Actually, we get our first seafood box coming in.
Yeah, I got the email on that one.
Hit Allie up. Said, send the fish.
And she did.
Yeah. You ask, they deliver.
To your doorstep.
Yeah. So make sure, go check them out, man. They're awesome people. Cody Hibbert texted me today, asked me where Good Ranchers is located out of. So I was like,
who cares, Cody? Yeah. They deliver to your door.
I said, dude, don't bother me with that nonsense.
Yeah. Golly.
Why don't you write a song about it, bro?
Get online.
Golly, freaking dude. Hey, he thinks since he's a country singer that we're going to cater to him.
Yeah.
Oh, we will.
With some meat.
We like having friends that are, popular.
Yeah.
They can sing music. We got to go see his live show too. But yeah, goodranchers.com. Use our code DNDPod. Make sure to take advantage of that. I'm excited today. Matt Knudsen. We did some research on our own. The guy's had a crazy, he's one of those guys, like he said, he's been in a ton of stuff. And I'm sure once we talk to him more, we'll find out more what he's been in.
Yeah.
And we'll probably be like, oh, yeah, I remember you from that. I remember from that. It's just.
I think this is going to be one of those where he's never played like a main role in the stuff he's been in. Well, I mean, there's some things, but he's going to say, yeah, I was in that scene. It's going to make me want to go back and watch.
Yeah. Well, then we're going to catapult his career.
Yeah.
He'll be the next leading man in a rom-com.
I bet. For sure.
I mean, he should start selling out arenas with his comedy show.
Yeah.
We've done a lot. This guy named Cajun Ninja blew him up.
The good thing about Cajun Ninja is he's at least appreciative about it.
Yeah, he knows. He knows he owes it all to us.
He's like, thank you.
Yeah, I owe it all to you guys.
Like, we had to take a little bit of a step back for him to get where he needed to go.
And I'm not going to tell him I said this. We're going to see if he listens to our show. Because if he doesn't, I'm going to say, don't forget where you came from.
Yeah. And he's not going to listen.
And this is where he came from.
Yeah.
This guy.
Golly.
This guy. But yeah. So it's been an exciting week. Maybe had a lot going on, man.
Yeah.
We played golf tournament today.
We did.
We had a big podcast tonight, which with a guest we're excited to have on. I got a tattoo this week. I grew a mustache.
Yeah.
You met my mom.
I did. I met your mom. That was fun.
My mom came in town this weekend, and I was like, Vaughn, you need to come meet her, your other mother. And so you got to meet her, and she's a trip, man.
She is.
She's funny.
She's a good storyteller.
Yeah.
She really is.
She is.
She was cracking me up on stuff that nobody should be laughing about.
Yeah.
She's telling me, I was like, I had to apologize for saying, look, I know this is serious that you're talking about, but I laugh at these kind of things. And she's like, oh, no, it's funny.
No, the stuff, yeah, dude. She, like I said, that's how I grew up, man, with her and my dad. Both are really funny. They both are cooks. So, like, a lot of that, I've got all that influence from them. My mom's a trip. She likes to play jokes. And we actually recorded her reaction to me showing the podcast tattoo. That's really a reason why Vaughn came over.
Yeah.
We wanted him to be there whenever we show my mom the tattoo. And she had a good response to it.
She did. I thought she was going to get a little bit more not frustrated, but like more
Disappointed,
disappointed.
yeah.
But I think at this point, she's all out of disappointment.
Dude, I've disappointed her too much.
Dude, I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
And I'm the golden child.
Yeah. And she did take up for you. I don't know if you heard it. She was talking about something about school, and I was like, oh yeah, Dale told me that he skipped school all the time. And she goes, well, he made good grades.
I did not. She did not know I did. She did not see a report card from like 7th grade on. I'd be like, I don't know what happened. They don't send them out this time.
But in 7th grade, you made good grades.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yes.
I probably did.
And then after that, you just stopped showing her because you wanted to keep her on a high note, dude.
She just knew I had good grades.
That's what's called that is what's called motherly love right there. You were just reciprocating the fact that she's on a high.
Yeah.
We don't drag her down.
I don't want to bring her down with these.
No. No.
She has no idea that I almost did not graduate.
But you know what? You
True
graduated.
Story. But I did, and she thinks I got good grades.
Valedictorian. Valedictorian.
She's like,
you're a valedictorian of a class that wasn't supposed to graduate.
yes.
Like a B team.
I was, they just said, get the hell out of here.
No Dale left behind.
I failed Algebra 2 a couple of times.
Dude, Algebra 2 sucks. I was not good at algebra.
I had a terrible teacher, one, and it was just, dude, I just did not care about school. Like, I just was there for the social side of it and to get out.
Yeah.
And I did. And like I said, you look back, and at the end of the day, none of that stuff matters, especially once you get older in life and you get things going. But, I had a good time.
Yeah.
I was always having a good time. We had fun. We had a great group of friends that I'm still friends with a lot of them to this day. And so, but yeah, at least my mom thinks I had good grades, dude. I did my job.
Yeah, you did. They need to get rid of Algebra 2 and put in financial literacy.
Emotional damage. Well, we're back to school. It didn't turn out to be the load off your mind like you thought it would be, did it?
Yep, I did.
Soccer practice, science fairs, helping with homework, doing the homework. Can it just be summer break again already? Well, the good news is you can take one big thing off your plate by putting great meat on your plate with Good Ranchers.
Ooh, that sounds dirty. You care about what your family eats, so does Good Ranchers. These guys are great. That's what they spent years building relationships with local farms to source the best 100% American beef, chicken, pork, and now wild-caught seafood, too.
Nuh-uh.
Oh, yeah. No lie, brother. Yes, the best of the land and sea can now get conveniently delivered to your door. I believe they do it themselves.
I think so.
Yeah. I want Ben to bring my steaks to my house.
Also, right now, when you subscribe to any box with Good Ranchers, you'll get 2 years.
Get out.
No, seriously. Listen.
No, really get out.
You get 2 years of free ground beef. That's 144 free meals on Good Ranchers tab.
Who does the math on this?
I don't know. Somebody who's not good at it.
Dude, I don't know. Okay.
It's time to get the real back to school basic.
So subscribe and use my code DNDPOD for $20 off your box at goodranchers.com and get free ground beef for 2 years. That's 8,000 pounds of meat, 2 pounds of high quality ground beef in every box for over 2 years, completely free. I don't see how they do it. Remember, go to goodranchers.com, use my code DNDPOD, claim $25 off your box plus free ground beef for 2 years on your order for 100% American meat and seafood. Good Ranchers, American meat delivered.
Emotional damage.
That pertains to people much better.
That would have helped me out.
I mean, it would help everybody.
I know.
I mean, we got a bunch of people that can do algebra that can't save a dime.
No, it's me.
As much free stuff as you get.
Yeah, I love
what you need to do when you get free stuff, dude, what you should do is get free stuff and then have a garage sale with all the free stuff.
No, I give my free stuff away.
Well, that sounds like that's not a good idea.
Dude, I'm like Robin Hood.
Unless it's me. You can give it to me.
I give you a lot of stuff. You should
I end up having to somehow pay for all that shit.
You need to bulk up. If you get the extra large, you get all kind of free stuff.
No, because then if it's extra large, then you're going to end up wearing it or whatnot. You only give me the stuff that's too small on you.
No, not necessarily. But I get a bunch of extra. I get polos or something like that. I'd give you one.
Why don't you just lose weight?
Nah, bruh. I got a mustache. I gotta stay thick.
That's true. That boy thick.
This thick boy summer.
That boy, dude.
That boy tick.
He tick.
Yeah. So I'm excited. We're gonna have Matt Knudsen on. I need to follow up with Sean after this. Let him know that we had him on finally, and we're gonna be promoting their show. So this show is really one. We got a cool guest we're excited about, but this is going to come out a few days before their show. And so, but by the time you heard this, you'll see on social media that we've been promoting this show. We plan to be there. So if you want to come see us there as well, we'll do our own stand up in the parking lot.
No, absolutely. No, for sure.
You got to pay us.
Yeah.
I don't work for free, do you?
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, if you're ready, let's jump. Let's get him on. He's in the lobby waiting. We'll get Mr. Matt Knudsen on and cut up, man.
Good deal. Let's do it.
Uncle Dale and Vaughn with stories to unfold. So sit back, relax, and behold. We discussing life and all its ups and downs. Tune in from your side of town. Talking pop cultures, movies, and TV shows. Giving the thoughts and much more. This shit is style, clothes, and gadgets galore. Keeping you entertained, you'll be begging for more. Cause we gon' laugh and hey, maybe even crying. But one thing's for sure, you'll be smiling. Cause Uncle Dale and Vaughn are at your side. So come along, join, and let's ride.
They bring the heat, and the guests are supreme. They ain't just a duo, they the dream team.
What is up, sir? Can you hear us?
Oh, me? Oh, yeah. Oh, I can hear you loud and clear. I thought I was anticipating you were talking to him. I was like, he's not answering.
No.
Why isn't he answering? He said, "What is up, sir?"
I never.
He doesn't call me sir.
No, man, never. So for all you out there, we got Mr. Matt Knudsen, actor, comedian, writer, and just all around extraordinaire. That's what I call you.
Thank you so much. You didn't have to use
I feel like
the
I've seen you
E-word.
before.
Yeah.
You look familiar.
You look familiar.
Thank you, guys. A pleasure does not begin to cover it. Really happy to be here.
Yeah, no, hey man, we're excited. We got connected to you through a past guest, Sean Dolan.
Great
We'll
guy.
talk more about that.
Friend
We'll
of the
talk
show.
more about that later. Really, how you guys are connected. We'll get into that, and we'll promote the upcoming show you have in Houston. And I'm hoping we can get there. We've talked to Sean about it. If we can, I'd love to come meet you in person, which would be awesome.
I would love that.
So we'll be trying to do that. But yeah, man, thanks for coming on. We're really excited to have you on. Like I told you before we start recording, we haven't had anyone, an actor, anybody in that field yet on our show. And we're kind of all over the place, but we like to have people in cool professions, and your profession is pretty dang cool. So I figured it'd be
Thanks, Dale. I appreciate it. I also had seen in the past you guys have a lot of athletes, and I get a lot of joy and entertainment from athletes too. So I think we're all kind of in this artistic and creative community together.
You're an athlete.
yeah.
That's true. I am an athlete too. I'm a jock.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
You play pickleball?
No, not yet. Listen, I'm a poser. I'll give you that. But
You've driven by a gym.
yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. My neighbor's name is Jim. Does that count for anything?
There you go.
When I was in high school, I was a wrestler. I also did track and field, and I played lacrosse. And I've actually, until last year, I had run the Los Angeles Marathon for 10 consecutive years.
Oh God, this is terrible.
Yeah. Once they put chrome in my bones, I retired.
Chrome. They put chrome in your bones?
Dude,
It's like
I
Wolverine.
had this. I had hip dysplasia, which, like, when the doctor told me about it, he's like, yeah, you got hip dysplasia. I was like, you mean that big dog thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, no, it happens to humans too. So
I didn't know that was a thing.
dude, it was a genetic thing. I guess at some point, all the gristle that was in there got ground down, and my bones were rubbing together.
Sounds like you need to put glucosamine in your dog food every day.
I should. I blew it. But I realized right when I saw the x-ray, I was just like, well, I'm not going to yoga out of this one. It was just bones just grinding. So grateful we had the technology and the skilled doctor to sort it out. It was in December, and I'm feeling better every day.
So did you got a hip replacement?
No, there's two things they do to a hip: a replacement and a resurfacing. The replacement is when they like take a steel rod and like jam it all the way inside your bone. A resurfacing is when they kind of cap the ball and it moves around in like a metal socket. It's a cobalt chrome appliance, so they were able to do the second one, which is less intrusive and a quicker recovery. So it's really grateful for that.
Nice. I love cobalt in my veins. They call me Cobalt Vaughn.
They do. We just started today.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Well, that sounds like one of those pitches like, well, you know, everyone calls me Cobalt. Isn't that right? Yeah. Everyone calls me. Yeah. You're just trying to get your nickname started right now, aren't you? No.
Like, throw the cobalt.
Yeah. It's like that Seinfeld episode when Jordan trying to start his own nickname. They're calling him Coco.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
I've still never seen Seinfeld.
He's never watched Seinfeld, dude. Like, what a letdown.
Well, I will say this. It's the #1 live action sitcom of all time.
Yeah, it's just that.
It's just that. And not that I compare it or whatever. Simpsons, for me, #1 show ever. Seinfeld, 1A.
Oh, nice.
1A.
Yeah.
Okay.
The writing still holds up because it has this timeless element, except for like the technology and their clothes and their hair and all that stuff. The things you laugh about, you still laugh about.
Yeah.
I used to watch Simpsons. My mom used to get mad at me because she was very into church, and I couldn't watch Simpsons, but I still watched it. Still did.
No son of mine is going to be eating shorts.
Yeah. And then the next thing you know, he's watching Beavis and Butthead with
My dad.
with his dad.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I used to see Beavis and Butthead at the Spike and Mike animation festivals before it became a show, before it was like the whole thing. And Mike Judge was just submitting his thing. They had some real champions, and it just exploded because he's incredibly talented and hardworking.
Golly. So, hey, one thing I want to talk to first, just because it's like the biggest deal going on right now, is the SAG-AFTRA stuff. I've seen you post about it. Apparently, they had some movement today in the Writers Guild.
True.
Is that what I've seen your post? So what? Give us an update from your side of that to know. Like, we don't know a ton about it. I read some,
Sure.
but give us a rundown of that.
Well, basically, the Writers Guild and the SAG-AFTRA, which is the Screen Actors Guild, and the American Federation of Television and Radio Actors. Basically, for years there was a structure in place wherein if you were part of creating something, they would give you a usage fee, but they called that usage fee a residual. So if you're in a show, every time that show airs or they use it in one of their properties, you get paid a usage fee, and you're kind of part of the creative team that helped build this IP, this intellectual property. So, like, for example, I did an episode of Malcolm in the Middle 20 years ago. And every time it airs or every time it's in Netflix and all this other stuff, they still pay me. It's like a passive income, for lack of a better term. But in the new structure, what they were trying to do is, instead of having a usage fee, the streamers, the Netflix, the Amazon, and all these people, they would just pay you a one-time fee, air it indefinitely, and just wait, remember we gave you that $2,000 4 years ago? He's like, well, yeah. And the simplest way I've been able to try and explain it to people is like, for example, some guy's got a camera. He's like, hey, I'm going to take a picture of you. I'll give you $20. Like, oh, $20, all right. So they give you the $20, and then you go to Walmart, 6 months later, and your picture's on T-shirts being sold. And you're like, yo, what about the a little something for the guy? Like, but I gave you $20. Oh, You're getting all greedy now. So it's just, there's plenty for everyone at the table. You just got to sit down, divvy up the pie, and go from there.
Well,
I actually had a SAG card at one time.
Cool.
Nobody went on strike though during my time.
Yeah, it was the first.
I feel like that would be scary if that was like a full-time job. I mean, obviously that would be kind of scary not to be able to work and things like that.
Right. Yeah, I didn't even really. I mean, I went to the picket lines and things like that, and I showed up how I could. But I booked a stand-up comedy tour. I wrote a book. I had these other things that I directed my energy and love towards when I knew my phone wasn't going to be ringing. And to be very candid, there was a strike called at a certain date, but even before that was called, studios and networks had kind of like shut down production, hoping that when they called on the union to strike, they wouldn't do it because people hadn't worked in months and were broke.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it. They're just like, no. Hey, you know what? I mean, there's been enough contrition where you're like, okay, we'll get you on the next one, and this has kind of happened generationally. They're like, well, we don't know what's going to happen with the VHS rental market, so we'll get you on the next one, and on and on and on until the point where just like, do you know what the headquarters for Amazon Studios is?
What is that?
It is the mansion from the movie Gone with the Wind. It's literally a building in Culver City. It's part of American cinematic history, and it's the headquarters for like this streaming. So I put a post. It's just like the times aren't changing, and they're changed.
Yeah.
So just figure out the numbers, and while at the same time, there's kind of this pride in Americans that think like our companies are the richest. It's just like, oh, well, okay, but how does that trickle down to the middle class people who buy the clothes and the groceries and go to the movies and have all these other, quality of life experiences? But if there's only like the super rich and the flat broke, the middle are the people that keep the American economy what it is. So if they go away, it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones that's really stimulating the economy. I mean,
Oh,
at the end of the day.
absolutely. I mean, when you look at rich people in the U.S., it's less than 1%. I mean, it's literally less than 1%. And every actionable item that we see in America is made towards that 1%. We focus significantly upon the minute classes or whatever you want to call them,
Right.
And then we forget about the ruling class, and ultimately,
Totally.
yeah. I mean, we do. That's been, and that's not being political here, but
Sure.
that's been through every single society in all of the world in history. I mean, it's the exact same thing.
Yep.
And we always expect a different result every time. We don't get a different result, but we expect it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Dude, totally, Fawn. It's kings and peasants.
Yeah.
And speaking of what you were saying, like in political and all that stuff, I don't really think that I've been to every state in the United States, and here's what I can tell you: everyone is friendly, everyone's cool, everyone's gracious, everyone looks out for each other. We are the United States of America. I say that all the time because I have a unique perspective with what I do. I'm there. I'm seeing these people. I don't have like a characterized version of like, oh, everyone from Mississippi is like this. It's just like, no. I've been there. Everyone's cool. What's happening is the big money people are trying to make red and blue go against each other, so we don't think about the class warfare that we should be thinking about. What do you mean you made $5 billion and blasted yourself into space? There's people sleeping on the street. Why don't you take pride in like, you know what? I came in and I built housing for 10,000 people. I would buy every product you made if that's what you were proud of.
Yes, absolutely.
No, that's true.
Well, one of these days the middle class is going to get together and they're going to say, "Hey, let's just take over the wealthy elite," and then we'll all figure it out. It's not going to be in our time, right?
Yeah, probably not.
Right. Right.
So how long have you been in the biz, man? Like put in quotations,
Well, I've literally been doing this for half my life. I moved to Los Angeles in 1998. I didn't know anybody. I had like no ins, but I started doing production assistant work on student films. I didn't have any kind of connections at all, and I didn't even know what I was doing. So I was just like, well, I can show up on time for free with a good attitude. Well, what do you think? Like, yes, please. So I did behind the scenes for a number of years, while I was also doing stand-up and acting. And in 2006, after almost 9 years, I was able to just transition to full-time acting, stand-up, and writing and things like that. But every year has been different. There's ups and downs and peaks and valleys, but every single year has been spent living my calling. This is the only thing I ever wanted to do. So it's been awesome.
Well, bravo to you, man.
Thanks, dude. Yeah,
So
thanks.
you're originally from Hawaii? Is that correct?
That's correct. When I was a kid, my dad was a pastor, and he had a church in Hawaii, and we happened to be living there at the time. And after I was about 3 years old, we moved from Hawaii to Iowa.
It's
Because
happening there.
yeah, it's all happening totally.
Mission trip.
Yeah, big time.
Golly.
Ironically enough, I didn't even. This is just a coincidence. My wife and I'm holding up the flower of a plumeria. We have like a plumeria plant in our little patio. It's like in a potted plant. But those are the little flowers that they use to make leis in Hawaii. Like when you get off the plane,
okay.
they put one on you. They smell so great. But yeah, we moved from Hawaii to. My dad got the job as a director of a Bible camp in Iowa. So he was like, "Well, kids, time to say aloha."
Yeah. Hopefully he didn't get a Netflix special.
Dan Knudsen, time to say aloha. Yeah. Yeah. I always
Bible
laugh.
groups in the middle of Iowa. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Dude, totally. Yeah, totally.
I mean, I've seen Children of the Corn.
Oh yeah. Those children are pretty upset. Yeah. They got a lot of issues and complaints. Yeah.
So, Pastor's son. So, I did read
PK.
something about. So, are you a clean comic? I seen Sean said something about your variety show, the clean comic variety show. What you're doing is that what you're known as too?
You
Like
know
part of your show?
what? That's a great question. I do work clean. I think that it's more fun for me and more fun for crowds. But I also don't like, hey, everyone, bring your Bible to the Clean Comedy Show. It's It's not what I lead with. It's just what it is.
Okay.
In the same way that if you like Jim Gaffigan and Brian Regan and Nate Bargatze, they don't lean into like, hey, But I always say my show is for ages 16 plus, in that if you can drive yourself there, you're probably going to have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, them guys have been blowing up too. I mean, Nate Bargatze's been around for a long time. We recently had a clean comic on the show, Nick Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
And man, we had a great time. He came in studio, and we had a great time. Seeing some of his bits online, and really funny. And so, like I said, it doesn't being vulgar just for the sake of being vulgar is not funny anyway. So I get
agree.
it,
And
so
the thing is, I swear all the time.
Yeah.
I swear all the time. Like my daily life, I am profane.
Yeah.
But when I was coming up and doing spots, everything I wrote, I wanted to be able to do on the Tonight Show. And I guess that maybe stuck somewhere, and so yeah, that's just kind of always the way I've done it. And then, to your point, what you were saying with this new show that I'm touring, it is, I mean, I don't advertise it as this, but it is a one-man variety show because I do stand-up, I play music, I have short films, I have audience interaction, there's a dance number. The elevator pitch is the Chappelle Show meets Lawrence Welk.
There you go.
So I just got off the road doing it, and I just had such a great time. I had never really had this experience before, but in the same audience, as I left the stage one night, a 70-something-year-old man palmed me at a 20. And he's like, my wife and I would like to buy you a cup of coffee. That was phenomenal. I was like, hey, thank you, sir. Thank you. And as they were leaving, there was a group of there was like 5 20-somethings. Someone was celebrating his 21st birthday at my show. And those 2 age groups had a good time together. And I felt very, very proud of that. And it was my favorite show of the whole run.
So this is a question I had asked Nick Morrison. He was talking about he's a clean comic too. Do you find that writing clean comedy is harder?
No.
You don't?
No. Okay. Also, I had always thought, and again, I don't like bill myself as clean, but like when you go like really dirty or blue, or you're talking about something that everyone's like, oh man, there'll be some talking about that pretty soon. It only cuts against you. Like, I've never had someone like leave the show is like, why didn't he say the F word more? He could have just, especially if it's like an adjective for something, or just like you could drop it, So, and at the same time, I laugh at dirty stuff all the time. I think Cat Williams is hilarious.
Oh,
he's so funny.
Is great.
He's so funny, and talks about like the most jarring things. Yeah. But anytime he has something come out, I always watch it.
Yeah. Dale and I had the pleasure of, you know what? I'm going to say it because it's a little overshooting what actually happened. But Dale and I had the pleasure of meeting Dave Chappelle last weekend.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So the comedian Mo Ammer,
Mm-hmm.
I met him at a few different things. We met. He came to Houston to do his Mo Day. And so he got us some tickets, had will call, had VIP party access after, but he brought out a bunch of friends, and then he brought Chappelle on as a surprise, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, we go to surprise the party, the VIP party.
Yeah.
We meet everybody, and then Chappelle walks in straight up to me when he walks in the door, and we kind of like embraced. I'm like, hey, he asked where Mo was and pointed to the corner.
Awesome.
It was unreal, man. It was kind of like, he's so big, He's huge.
He's the one of the biggest guys in the game. He's up there with top 10 dudes ever.
So you were on Key and Peele, which that's another great show.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, that was a shout out to my friend Payman Benz, who's a longtime director, and the story of that, and it's in this book I just wrote. Have I seen you in anything? True stories from a guy that seems familiar. But my friend Payman,
drop?
Yeah, he just texted me one day. I was like sitting around. I was like, because the thing is, like, when you're an actor, you're always, you have a lot of free time during the days. So you're either writing or you're working on these other things. And then sometimes you're like, well, I'm going to go play golf, or I'm going to go exercise, whatever. Wasn't even thinking about it. He got a text from my friend Payman. He's like, hey, what are you doing on Tuesday? I was like, I don't know, nothing. He's like, okay, production's going to be in touch with you. And I had no idea what he was talking about. But that was the Tuesday. He's like, yeah, it's Key and Peele. You're going to just come do a sketch. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
God bless you, Payman Benz. You're the man. It was just really, really remarkable. And when I went there, they were so nice and so cool. It was me, Rob Corddry, Artemis Pedani, and Marilyn Ricecub, and Key and Peele. And when we all walked up, they both got out of their chairs, shaking hands, welcome, hey, thank you. So glad you could make it. And this was season 4. Like, wow. After they had already won their Emmys and were this big thing. Could not have been nicer, could not have been cooler. It was really unbelievable.
What would you say was your most memorable piece, or most memorable? Yeah,
from that show, or from just in general?
In your entire life.
Well, I've been lucky enough, and again, most of the jobs are a surprise. You're like, I did? What? Okay. Yeah. Would have to be Shrinking, that's airing right now with Harrison Ford and Jason Segel. It was the first job that I got after the pandemic. And once everything shut down, even when things came back, it was like, well, I'll never work again. A lot of people had that feeling. And it was almost 2 years. I wrote a movie, so I like have that like linchpin of like, okay, at least I was productive during the time. But the idea of getting another acting job was just like, well, I'm not holding my breath. But I sent an email audition in that I taped on my phone, and they're like, yeah, Knudsen, you're the guy, come on. I was like, So I got there, and I got my call sheet, and I saw my name on the call sheet with Harrison Ford, and I started crying. Yeah. I literally started crying, and I didn't try and stop myself until I was done. I was alone, so it wasn't weird, but I was just to go from like the darkest, like, well, had a good run, to that.
That's a huge dude.
It was just the biggest, and everyone involved were so classy and so cool and so positive, and I don't know if sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say, and they couldn't have been nicer.
I was gonna say little did you know that Harrison Ford actually started crying when he saw your name.
Exactly. He's like, but for the different reason. He's just like, oh man, I've really hit the skids.
He's like, this guy looks familiar.
I'm looking at Matt Knudsen on my call sheet. Oh, what have I done wrong? What have I done wrong?
When I watched that, I've already watched that twice.
Cool. Thanks, Dale.
I put multiple, like, I've messaged friends. I'm like, dude, you've got to watch the Shrink Show. I know you haven't watched it yet, but dude, you've got to see it.
I haven't yet.
It is, like, I love Jason Segel. The girl, what's her name? Not Judy. God. What's his counterpart?
Oh, Jessica Williams.
Yeah, so she's one of my favorite characters of any show ever. Probably.
Remarkable.
And Harrison Ford plays such a good grumpy man. Like,
dude,
that's a great casted show, and it's it's brilliant. I love Jason Segel too. I mean, he's incredible.
I couldn't agree more. And you know what? Like that public persona that Harrison Ford has, like he's kind of crusty and like, they wrote that for him. You know, so one of the lines is like she's drinking water. She's like, "You should drink some more water." You know what percentage of your body is water? He's like, "I know what percentage doesn't give a crap." And that set up his character so perfectly.
Yeah, that's a great show, man. That's a really good one. Apple TV's done some great job on some shows there.
Agreed. Thanks, Dale. And you know what was fun for me is I just went in to do that one episode, and then after I had shot that, they had brought me back to do more later, which is another incredible surprise and really just an incredible cosign from those people that I already respected so much.
Yeah, that's a great cat. So you were like the you were like the guy with like the mommy issues, right? That was your That's what you're in the.
I am not a joy boy. Yeah, and you know what's the true story is okay. So the medium length version of this is so we went in and we had like a scripted scene, and then after we shot the scripted scene, Bill Lawrence was on set with the director James Ponsoldt and Jason and me, and it was just the four of us. And like Bill's like, "Hey, let's improvise a therapy session." I was like, "Okay," So they just rolled the cameras, and Jason and I just riffed like a 5-10 minute scene with the cameras rolling, and that's what made it into the show. I pulled Joy Boy because that's what my mom and dad called me their whole life, and my mom still does.
You didn't have to tell us that.
Yeah, it's true. So the fact that it's coming full circle, and anyone's like, "Hey, it's the Joy Boy," it just so makes me laugh so much. I can't even tell you.
That's hilarious.
So y'all just or just kind of improvised for 5 to 10 minutes, no takes. It was just straight through.
Oh,
that's right.
There was no crack ups, no nothing.
It's so funny.
There were there were some crack ups, and there was the straight through. And then what we went into is when you got like the coverage, they say like, "Oh, you did that thing where you did the thing." Oh, yeah. And The line that Bill gave me as he left the set, he's just like, when he asked like, what's on your mind? Say, "It's my mother again." And I was like, okay. So Jason Segel didn't hear that line. Bill just whispered it to me. So when the cameras were rolling and, I said that line, it was new information from him. And the take that made the show was he just hangs his head like,
Yeah.
and like, we're having a session and you're talking about your mother again. Oh God!
Because he's so burnt out on his job. Like
Dude.
it's like he's so burnt out because he's got so much personal life going on. Like it's just, it's great comedy.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah, and he was such a nice. Like you look at him and you just tell he's listening and he's really really into it. So it was one of my favorite jobs I've ever done. I would say the second to that was I used to be on a Cartoon Network show. It was their first live action show. And that was maybe 2 years after I was doing acting full time, and after that, it made me feel secure to continue doing it for the long term.
What was that? That was Reanimated, I think.
Reanimated, yeah. And then when it became a series, it was called Out of Jimmy's Head. So ironically enough, it got canceled because of the writer's strike in 2007. So it's all coming full circle. I don't believe in coincidence.
Yeah. So when you mentioned your book, what's the name again?
It's called Have I Seen You in Anything? True Hollywood Stories from a Guy That Seems Familiar.
That's great.
So
when's the release for that?
I have it released on October 2nd. It's coming up October 2nd. So that's
Okay.
when the ebook is going to be able to be pre-ordered. And knock on wood, I'm going to have copies when I come to the Riot Comedy Club on October 5th.
Okay.
So fingers crossed. But it's basically the elevator pitch for that is I've met the president in the White House. I met Hugh Hefner at the Playboy Mansion, and William Shatner asked me to call him Bill.
Yeah.
So there's all these stories that are just like the kind of thing that maybe you tell if you're at dinner with someone or at the bar hanging out. But my whole life, and I just truncated them down into my Casey Kasem-esque top 40 and wrote them all as individual essays and all put together into one book. But it was the first time I've ever done anything like that. But the twist of the tell-all, quote unquote, is I say it's a tell-some. And instead of being this backstabby, dirty laundry airing, I only share stories of people at their absolute best. So when they've been funny, gracious, warm, decent, human, those are the ones I want to share, because it's just hey, do you like Dick Van Dyke? Check this out.
Yeah.
He's this guy too. When no one's around, he's this guy. So
Which presidents did you go in front of, or did a bit for? Oh, I think we lost you there for a second.
can you guys hear me okay? It kind of froze
we
up
got
on
you.
my end.
We got you now.
Okay.
Which president did you get a chance to grace with your president?
Barack Obama, 2010. I did an event at the White House for their Halloween party.
Nice. Did y'all go paddleboarding?
Absolutely. Well, us guys that are born in Hawaii, we just this is what we do. We got aloha, brother. Spirit of aloha.
There you go.
You're not a chef, are you?
Yeah, chef. Yeah, chef. Yeah. What's funny because I was in Montana and I was talking to people at the show and I was just I met the president in the what did I say? I said I met President Obama in the White House, and some guy yelled out, "Sorry." I'm just okay, mad at the world guy. Do not engage. Yeah. Okay. Crusty boomer, give him his space.
I tell you what, I would love to play golf with Barack Obama. I think he'd probably be the most hilarious guy ever.
He seems like a cool cat, dude. There's no
He
doubt.
really does. That dude is cool.
Dude, and he's hilarious, and he's the brightest bulb of any room he walks into. The stories in the book, when they put us in the blue room, and so we're looking out at I heard someone said he's coming, and the Marine One landed on the south lawn. He came out saluted the Marine. You're oh man.
That's cool.
Like 10 minutes later, he came into our room, shook hands with everyone who was volunteering to work this event, because it was also for wounded warriors and their families, and some Gold Star families were there too. So it was a party and a celebration, but also a way to like honor these people and welcome them into the White House. And so it took that balance of like, hey, fun energy, but respect. But he came by, and there were probably 10 to 12 of us. Shook hands with everyone, said thank you, gave us all a moment. I'll never forget it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's a huge honor.
Yeah,
no doubt.
it's something that, like, what I had told people is like, this book that I have, if someone had handed it to me when I got here in 1998, they're like, yo, this is going to be your life. I'd be like, I don't believe it,
Yeah, for sure.
What I had always tried to share with people, like in my act and just in general, it's just like all of that stuff happened because I said yes. We're like, yeah, you want to do something? Yeah, I do. Yeah, let's try something new. Let's not say no and shut down an idea, because say no, you know how it's going to end. But like when you say yes, you're like, hey,
yeah,
why not?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm big on that, man. I like to say yes to a lot of things, just because you never know what's going to come about it and who you're going to meet, and that could catapult you to your next deal. I'm sure for you, I mean, your world, that's connections is all about your whole world, I'm sure.
True. Yeah, true that. And also, if I was in studio with you guys, I'd probably be doing smelling salts right now.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That hit hard, dude.
Hey, honestly, I think for your show on October 5th,
Yeah.
I think you should get a little douse of the smelling salts before you go on stage. I mean, it'll be unforgettable.
I don't know how people would do those and lift weights. I lift weights. I don't know how they could do that right after lifting weights. I couldn't see.
Yeah.
And my sinuses were inflamed. Oh, God, it's terrible.
It was great.
It was terrible.
It was great.
We'll put a pin in that.
Yeah, I mean, that is, whew. Yeah.
Hilarious.
So who's okay? So you got a show coming up October 5th at the Riot.
At the Riot, yeah. Hopefully everyone can make it. I'll also have copies of the book and, CDs, T-shirts. And even if people can't get merch or anything, please come up and hang out and shake my hand and let's take a picture. And I'm there to get to know Houston and everyone there.
Houston's a good scene, man.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of comedy that comes through Houston. I know the Riot. I haven't been there yet, but I heard it's a pretty cool spot.
Absolutely. And I got
to where that one's off of.
I'm not sure.
Downtown.
I'd have to look where that is exactly. It's one of those things I don't dial in the address until, like, you pick up the car at the airport. Hi, where am I going? Okay, all right.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way.
Yeah. I try and keep it loose. And, I think a lot of times the more you plan, especially on a shorter trip, the harder it is.
Yeah, for sure.
You book a hotel room and you realize it's 40 minutes away and there was one like across the street. You're like, ugh.
Oh, yeah.
This could have waited.
So is this your first time in Houston?
This will be my first time in Houston, performing in Houston. I've been in Texas a lot, like Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Corpus Christi. But first time in Houston, so I'm really excited.
And you're currently in LA, right?
Currently live in the Dream Factory. Yeah, Los Angeles.
Go.
I live on the west side in a city called Santa Monica. But it's all kind of like, it's kind of this part of the cluster, like the Bronx and, Staten Island. It's all New York. It's all,
Well, the Houston food scene, and this is going to hurt some people's feelings.
Uh-oh.
The Houston food scene.
Yeah.
Everybody says it's L.A.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's Houston.
Well, I believe that.
Houston's food scene is absolutely unreal.
Very eclectic.
Great. Yeah. I can't wait to try a bunch of stuff.
You go.
It's got everything. Hey, so we do a thing on our show. I don't know if you've seen this. So we do a thing on our show every time. It's just me and Vaughn are doppelgangers. We always like to ask our guests, hey, who is somebody, I mean, you are a celebrity, but who is somebody you've been told at a point in your career or whatever, who you look like, your celebrity doppelganger,
Sure.
who's been that for you? And then we're going to use our app that we use, and we're going to say some of ours.
Great. Well, I mean, hands down, it would be Jason Segel.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
what I told him earlier. I was like, dude, he looks like Jason Segel. I got another name earlier, too.
Jason Segel, I could see.
Somebody else. I was like, man, it's probably
Yeah.
funny y'all sitting across from each other doing that scene.
Well,
and
it was
resemble.
even funnier. I'll just add to the doppelganger lore. My brother, like, he sent me a text message. This is like after the trailer for Shrinking had dropped, and there's a bunch of different scenes and stuff, and in one of the scenes, like, Jason Segel's riding a bike and someone opens a car door and he like hits it and flips over, and my own brother said, "Did they get you a stunt guy or did you do that yourself?" I was like,
Oh my god!
I was like, no, that was the movie star, Jason Segel.
You do look like it. Do you get anybody else at all?
Not really. I mean, Donal Loge, who is kind of a deep cut, and maybe a little Ron Aldard. Yeah, but if I'm ever pitching someone and they don't know me and like they're industry adjacent, I always say that I'm a budget friendly Jeff Daniels.
There you go.
I could see that.
Budget friendly.
I totally see it.
Thanks.
That's hilarious. Hey, so I use this web-based app called starbyface.com.
Okay.
I pulled one of your pictures from online.
Great.
But 30% was Jason Segel, and then 32% was Joe Pesci.
Do I amuse you in some way? What am I, some sort of clown?
Hey, I mean, I see a little Pesci eye there.
My Cousin Vinny's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
Absolutely.
that's a great show.
And two Utes.
Two Utes. To what? Two Utes. Two Utes? I'm sorry. Two youths.
Classic. Fred Gwynn at his, he's also like, he's known for that. I mean, in addition to Herman Munster, but when you get to like a certain age and a certain point in your career, you're just like, that's it. And then you're like 75 and they're like, hey, Fred Gwynn, come be the judge in this beloved classic. Okay. It's remarkable.
It was great. He played a great judge.
Totally. That's one thing about the the entertainment industry or acting or anything like that. They always say that like actors never really get old; they just move into a different category. Right. So in my life and career, I've gone from the deputy to the sheriff to the mayor to the congressman, and you just like I think the only reason I've worked so much is because I'm very basic. I'm very like middle of the road, cis white 40-something Midwest dude. And whatever clothes they put me in, they're like, yeah, that guy's the cop. Oh yeah, that guy's the funeral director. Just because I'm wearing a suit, they're like, I buy it.
Yeah,
Hey,
for sure.
so what bit was that when you're dressed up like a woman? I seen on that little highlight reel.
Yeah.
What was that from? Because I watched that little piece. It was funny. I didn't know what it was from.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, so that was a friend of mine and a great comedian, Jamie Kaler, did a pilot, and it was called Last Chance for Love. And it was the premise was that it was like a dating site, but instead of being like the apps, you actually get into the studio with someone. They take like detailed information about you, like old school, and then create a profile. So I was just a character called Terry, and I had a wig, and I brought some of my jewelry from my wife. And they did have a professional makeup woman there who did all the women's makeup, and she just did my makeup too. And all that stuff that you had watched was just kind of like improvised on, that was just like, all right, so the scene's going to start with, Terry, you're on the phone. And so I just did that, and I really didn't stop talking because I was trying to pitch someone the idea of Last Chance for Love, and it was just so I don't know that he ever sold it or anything ever happened to it, but that's the one thing about I think in any endeavor, it just takes trying and coming up with an idea you're excited enough to give the energy to, and then keep trying.
Yeah, for sure.
So, is there any goals have you written down that you haven't accomplished yet or haven't hit yet that you're like, man, you may have put something down on paper, you've done a bunch of things? Is there anything that you you haven't done yet that you've been wanting to do?
Man, that's a great question. You know, I would like to see the Northern Lights in Iceland or Greenland. I just think that would be so cool. You know,
Anything on the professional side?
the professional side. I mean, I would like to be a regular on a. Well, I will say this: a regular on a show that people really like. Not
Right.
just a show that are just like, what's this? It's the ABC 123 show that it's not very good and you're doing it for the money. I would like to be on something that people really connect with, and it's the reason they'd come to see me do stand-up. You know,
Like, whose line is it anyway?
Whose Line is a great show.
That's a great show.
Dude,
It's one of my favorites.
just so funny and you know, I know Wayne Brady and Jonathan Mangum and that whole crew in there. Again, the best people. So if you're a fan of those shows, then you watch them knowing that they're class acts.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah,
they're
professionally,
funny, too.
I'm really lucky that I can't say like, oh gosh, if I only had, you know, it'd be fun to have some kind of like independent film career. I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but outside of that, I'm very lucky in the sense that anything I think of, I do immediately.
Right.
Without thinking about the timing or the expense or the, you know, within reason, I can try and pull it off. And just being in that atmosphere, it's more than I ever thought I would ever accomplish.
Who's your for being your stand up? Who was one of your influences as far as stand up comedy goes?
Sure. I love George Carlin. When I was like growing up, I would like try and convince people I wrote the George Carlin jokes. At 10 years old, yeah, I made this up, you know. Get out of here. Yeah, George Carlin, Brian Regan, you know. I really like Seinfeld too. You know, he really blew up and became next level, but he became next level for a reason. I also grew up watching, you know, sketch, a lot of sketch with like The Kids in the Hall, Saturday Night Live. Mr. Show was a big influence on me because those people would also, in addition to doing sketch comedy, they were mostly all stand-ups too. So you're like, oh, you can actually kind of exist in both these worlds.
The Kids in the Hall Brain Candy was my favorite movies growing up. Dude, that show was. I love when he's the road crosser at the school. He's like, go. The cars will stop. And the cars just flying by trying to get kids to walk in the traffic. You ever seen that?
Probably.
I'm about to find it on.
Oh, dude, it's so funny. Yeah, personally, my favorite scene of that whole movie is like, you know, Scott Thompson's playing the grandmother. And like the brain candy kicks in and like it flashes to the best memory that she's ever had. But the memory she had was her family walking in 1 second ago. And that was it.
That is pretty good.
Oh, that was such a cult classic.
Oh, dude.
Underrated movie, but I love those guys, man. I grew up like I watched all kind of stuff as a kid, man, and I love those kids, the Kids in the Hall guys.
Sketch, you know, Dale and I have talked about this before. You know, there's so many different lines of kind of what people are good at. You know, stand up is one.
Sure.
Improv, sketch comedy, that's another one. You know, actors, that's another one. I would find my sense of humor to be sketch and improv. I think that I would be a horrible writer of comedy.
Yeah, we say that, and then people we've talked to that's doing it, they say, man, once you learn a method, though, and if you could, it's probably, I know it's going to be hard to do, but there's ways to do it, I've heard, but I don't mean you'll be good at it.
Yeah. I'd rather just go up there and freestyle it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I always have said that, like, of all the disciplines, and I've done, you know, stand-up and improv and sketch is the hardest only because you can't bail.
Yeah.
There's no bail. You're like, yeah, I think this is so funny. I bought this wig. and I'm going to be doing this scene for 4 more minutes. And it's just like improv, maybe you can bail out of there. Stand up, you transition to another bit. When you're on stage doing a sketch that's eating it, it's just terrible.
Yeah. No, there's no bail on that.
There's no
Yeah,
bail.
you're right.
Yeah. And then, especially like when you realize like the first 2 to 4 lines, like, oh, you're not connected with the premise, huh? Well, let's just ride it out for another 5 minutes.
And that becomes the 5 hours in your head.
Dude, the worst. Yeah, I've had, so many. That's the thing. To say I've had more bombs than I can remember is an understatement.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite quotes of all time is Bruce Lee. He says, I never lose. I win or I learn.
There you go.
It's very true. Yeah.
That's one way to look at it. You got to have the silver lining, because if not, it would probably crush a career early if you just let it defeat you.
Totally. And also, if you ask any actor or any even like writer who's pitching things, it's just like, it's always a no. Like, it's almost every single time no, So if you go for 100 jobs and you get 5, you're like, hey, that's a pretty good year. I got 5 jobs. So if you can't find the joy in the process and the grit and grind, as they say in Memphis, it's going to be too hard. It'll hurt your heart too much to continue doing it.
Yeah.
So this Friday show you're doing that you're coming to Houston for, how many shows you have on this tour? How many stops you have on this tour?
So, for the Houston show, it's actually Thursday, October 5th. Thursday, October 5th. And it's just going to be a one night. I'm going to fly in. I'm going to have special guest Sean Dolan. You guys, friend of the show. And so
he's pretty funny.
Yeah, he's the best. So we kind of just met through the comedy scene and the web, the internet web, and really hit it off. We have a lot in common. So he has arranged this night. I'm coming out. I'm gonna have a great time. Meet the club people. Meet whoever shows up, and I already have the arrangements. I think I'm flying in at like 3:00. I'm renting a car. I'm going to drive to the club, set up my gear, and do the show, and then drive to the airport and, head home.
Oh, so you're not even staying the night.
Wham, bam.
Wham, bam. It's one of those things wherein I like being home when I can. Also, if you can limit your time and your trip and your travel, it doesn't feel like you're on the road as much.
Yeah, that's probably
And I
true.
just got back from this tour. I did it called the Top Left. So I was in Montana, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, and the west coast of Canada. And so I was in my car driving to these places, and I did 11 venues in 14 nights. And
wow.
I hadn't done a tour like that in a long, long time. And every time I talked to my wife on the phone, I was just like, I have never worked this hard doing comedy. I've never because there's these other elements wherein I like have a keyboard, I have a screen that I set up to show the short films, I have music cues, and you couldn't just leave it set up and strike it. You just like every night it was reloading and unloading, and and like we were discussing earlier, if I didn't really love it and have the joy, I wouldn't. It would have been a bummer instead of one of the best experiences of my life.
Uh-oh.
We lost you. There you go. Now we got you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Now you're back.
I don't know what happened there.
The last thing I heard you guys say is we're going to start recording now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you say if you didn't love it, enjoy the process, that's what you were going on about.
Yeah. If you don't really enjoy what you're doing, it's too hard. But I would also add that to any career, if you're in real estate and every time you're showing a house, you're like, oh, I'm wasting my life. You're like, you are. You do something else. There's plenty of stuff out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think for anybody, they need to love what they do, but also entertain adversity as well.
Yeah.
Just to, because that's a lot of people. They're great at one thing and they get derailed by, like you were talking about, having no's.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't win them all.
No.
And you get up, you move on, you keep going. So
That's right. Yeah. My catchphrase is survive in advance.
there
You
you
just
go.
kind of,
Yeah.
ride it out, and keep on going. Winston Churchill has this great quote. He said, "If you're going through hell, keep going."
Yeah.
That's right.
That's true. I thought that was Captain Ron.
It's probably Captain Ron. Yeah,
Great movie.
yeah. I'm sure Churchill stole it from Captain Ron.
I guarantee it.
It's Kurt Russell.
Churchill's always been a thief.
Dude, totally.
So what are some hobbies you get into besides being a comedian, actor, writer? Like what gets you going outside of that, man?
Sure. I still play basketball all the time. Still out
You're like
there.
Scalabrini.
Does he? Yeah, but now I'm like there used to be a basketball league here in town where it was all comedians. It was 10 comics teams. So we would play rec league basketball every Monday night. I still run. I'm not running as much as I used to. I'm going to wait until December and start running a little bit more. But and then I golf. Still like to golf, but always working to get just a little bit better.
Yeah.
We played golf tournament this morning, actually, me and Vaughn.
Cool. Yeah, I played for, like 20 years at this point, and I've always been like an 18 handicapper. You know, there's always one shot every hole where you're just like, oh, damn it. And then suddenly you're looking down, it's just like, a 99? What about that par I got 4 holes ago?
Yeah, the best way to lower your handicap is just to cheat.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's it always solves it.
Yeah, it helps.
That's right. Well, the one thing I say about golf is my only competition is previous versions of myself.
Yeah. I get
That's the beauty about golf is man, you can always grind on it. And I started playing at a young age, so did Vaughn.
Cool.
And that's one of them things where you like, I've learned so many. Like I grew up in a small town in a trailer in the country, man. But I started playing golf with some friends, and that got me to where I learned something new, learned a new sport.
Yeah.
But then, like, man, you learn a lot of life lessons from golf, especially at a young age when you don't come from that world. I mean, I'm faking it in this world versus how I live,
Right. Yeah. Sure.
But like I said, that's carried me on through life and the stuff you've learned and you how to communicate with people. And there's a lot of things that golf does for you in the positive.
Yes.
Couldn't agree more.
Even though it's a bitch sometimes.
Oh,
God,
dude.
please.
Yeah, there was like, I saw this like meme. It was like, some like Irish guy. He's like, golf is like life. You can get a good break off a bad shot and a bad break off a good shot. But whatever happens, you got to play the ball where it lays. It's just like, that's
Very true.
This was the die that was cast for you.
Yeah.
Go.
I think
Do it.
Robin Williams probably has the best stand-up about golf
ever.
ever.
Yeah, his bit about golf is great. Him trying to explain golf over there when they're developing it.
Do this one hole? No. 18 more times.
Robin Williams.
He was one of the greatest.
So who do you think, I mean, besides Barack Obama, who do you think's been the coolest person you've met along the way in your career?
Boy, Dick Van Dyke was a real treat. Bryan Cranston, Adam Sandler.
I like Bryan Cranston.
Alicia Silverstone. Yeah, Bryan Cranston. So, I think I'd mentioned I did an episode of Malcolm in the Middle years ago, and we just happened to cross paths a couple times since then, but he's always been so nice and so cool. I'm friends with his friend, Javier Grajeda, who actually plays the consigliere in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul to the Mexican drug cartel.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bald guy.
Great shows.
Yeah.
Those great shows.
So Brian and Javier used to be roommates when they both first moved to Los Angeles. So I had worked with Brian before, but then I knew him more through Javier over the years. And I mean, talk about a guy who just did great work for a long, long time. And
what a great career that guy's had.
Yeah, dude.
The writing of that show was
I
phenomenal.
loved Malcolm in the Middle, though. I used to watch that all the time as a kid, like growing, through probably that was middle school, high school years. That was a really funny show. So what was your
Yeah.
character on there? You just did one show in that?
I just did one episode. If you've seen them, or if anyone's rewatching them on Netflix or what have you, the episode was called Family Reunion, and Christopher Lloyd played Hal's dad, Bryan Cranston's dad, in the episode, and he was having a lot of issues with his dad because he didn't talk about his feelings, and like every time he tried to talk, he'd like make faces and like he'd even tickle him and stuff like that. So he's sleeping and he's in therapy, but he's in therapy with Jesus Christ.
Oh,
So,
yes.
yeah. So Jesus is his therapist as he's dreaming, and he's just like, "You don't understand. You don't have any father issues." It's like, I'm blessed, you know. So I started to work it out, but that was me.
I seen that on that little clip as well. I was wondering where that was from, but okay, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm blessed.
I'm blessed. Yeah.
You don't have daddy issues.
Yeah. But that was the first time I was ever on a show that I liked and watched, you know. And it was very influential at the time because, you know, most of the time it feels so far away. Like, you know, there's a big disconnect from like the thing that you watch on TV and then the thing that you're trying to audition for. But that was the first time I made a transition where I was just like, oh, it's not as far away as it seems sometimes. So it was a real treat to be a part of it.
That ran a long time too.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, and you know that was kind of going back to what we were talking about with the writers' strike and the actors' strike. You know, because it was a property that had been developed years ago. Every time they air it and ran it, they needed to pay a usage fee. So I would get these checks in the mail for years, and you know. Most character actors like me, you know, no one's eating caviar in the Pacific Palisades. We're just, you know, workaday Joes. But, you know, you get a check from Malcolm in the Middle, and it's a bag of groceries, a tank of gas, you know, maybe dinner out with the wife, you know, something that just allows you to have a quality of life that, you know, from work that you were a part of.
Yeah.
And it's cool for your resume. I mean, that's a cool, like, I've looked at your IMDb. Like, so just seeing that, you've had some really cool things you've been a part of. So
thank you, Dale. I really appreciate that, dude.
Yeah, I mean, hey, your career, like I said, I'm excited. I definitely want to get your book. It seems like you've had a really fun career, which, you know, you have so much more ahead of you to really, you never know what's going to come about, man. That's what's fun about it.
It's so true. Thanks, Dale and Vaughn. Yeah, and you know, one of my favorite quotes is Ralph Waldo Emerson. He said, "Tomorrow is promised to no man." And people think they're going to wait until next weekend. I'm going to go do that thing when I retire. I'm going to go do that. I'm going to, you know, but like, grab it, do it, let her rip.
I thought that was Captain Ron that said
It was Captain Ron again. Ralph Waldo Emerson stealing from Captain Ron.
hit him with a
That's so
callback.
funny. And not to be this guy, but I've seen Kurt Russell walking around my neighborhood a couple of times.
Yeah.
And he's one of those dudes where it's just, you look at him and you're just like, there's no one who's like, hey, that guy looks like Kurt Russell. It's just like, oh, no.
That's Kurt Russell.
That's Kurt Russell. A million percent.
Does he have no shirt on with a tool belt?
Absolutely. You know it.
I wish he would. All right.
The Overboard Part 2.
So you got the book coming out October 2nd. I'm gonna, man. I'm following you, man. Anything that you have coming up promoting, I'll definitely share it on my stuff and
Thank
on the
you,
podcast,
Dale
man. Just
Vaughn.
that we're, like I said, we're friends now. I hope to get to your show. I'd love to meet you in person, shake your hand, and consider yourself a friend now. I'm glad you've been a part of this. This is awesome, man.
Thank you, brother. And if there's any way I can be of service to you and yours, I'm always around.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So okay. So October 5th, the Riot Comedy Club in Houston. Your show. What time to start?
I believe that's 7:30. I would encourage anyone who's interested or anyone who just wants to get to know me better. You can hit up mattknudsen.com, MATTKNUDSEN, or my Linktree has links to has ticket links, has all my albums, my YouTube channel, all the stuff. I kind of slept on that for a long time because I didn't really care.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I was sleeping because like, whatever. But I just started to care 9 months ago.
Okay.
There you go. There you go.
Well, we'll share it out, man. Like I said, we'll get this episode out. We're gonna I'll be doing some promoting on my personal and on the podcast page.
Thank you, Dale.
Any of our friends in the Houston greater, because like I said, a lot of people we share stuff with. We have a lot of listeners in the greater Houston area where we're a part of. And I'm hoping we can make it there, and we'll encourage people to go. And if they want to meet us there as well, we'll be there. That'd be pretty cool, just to kind of help drive some people there for you.
That would be awesome. Thank you so much. And one thing I can say, anyone who ever comes to my show and doesn't have a good time, I will literally give you your money back.
Oh, really? Okay.
Money
good.
back guarantee.
Write that down.
I've never, I've said that for a long time, and no one's ever taken me up on it. Mostly because they're ashamed to, But and then and then they have a good time too. But
Hopefully, I get free tickets and then I complain.
Yeah, we're gonna slip you a 20 for some coffee after.
Great, that's all I ask.
We're gonna when you say a joke, Vaughn's gonna stand up and say that was a Captain Ron joke.
Yeah, Captain Ron said that.
One time
Simpsons did it.
Yeah, one time I was in a show and I heard someone just do this.
Oh.
You thought you felt bad. Imagine being that person.
Dude, that's the most miserable person I've ever known in my life. It doesn't
I'll
get
never
me
do that
low.
to you. I can't whistle. No, thank you very much for coming on. I
Man.
appreciate it. I've had a blast. It's an honor for you to be on here. So.
Thank you, guys. I really, it was fun, and I can't wait to see Houston sooner than later.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, Mr. Matt Knudsen, I'm glad we pronounced your name properly, and we were definitely fans of yours going forward, and we'll be watching your career, man. We're excited that you came on the Dale and I Dale podcast. Hope you enjoyed it, man.
Dale, Vaughn, I had a blast.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, we'll be in touch, man.
Okay, peace. Thanks.
Thank
Have
you.
a good
Bye.
one.
Bye.